Get ready to embark on an economic journey as we unveil the heartbeats of the Rwandan business landscape. This is the Business Age, your front row seat to the economic renaissance of the land of 1,000 hills. Join us as we traverse the bustling markets of Kigali, delve into the success stories of Rwandan entrepreneurs, and explore the dynamic forces shaping the nation's economy. From the boardrooms to the street vendors, we'll bring you the voices of the visionaries and the minds behind Rwanda's economic evolution. Discover the fusion of tradition and technology, witness the agricultural innovations transforming rural communities, and explore the cutting-edge innovations propelling Rwanda into a new era of economic prosperity. From the city lights to the rural landscapes, every business is a story waiting to be told. Hello there. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of The Business Age. You'll be with me, Naringwa Fiona Mothoni. On this edition, we look into the real estate here in Rwanda. We look at the supply, we look at the demand, we look at the growth that the sector has experienced in the last couple of years. We will also have a conversation with the Rwandan diaspora who moved back to Rwanda in 2016 and is investing in the real estate sector. When you're looking at Quick Homes, you say it started back in 2020. Tell us about the beginning of it all. What gap were you aiming to fill, and how was the whole process getting into the sector?
Thank you very much for having me. Getting into the sector, really, the first gap I was looking into solving was communication. Real estate is the most important thing in the world, yet in our country, it looked like it's the most forgotten. That's the place where people who can't even talk the basic things are. So I saw that, I was like, this is a gap I can look into, try to really just provide frank information, not lie to people, show them what the country has to offer, because it's a sector that is really growing fast. New neighborhoods are created every day, new designs come out every day, investors are loving it, but it was sad that no one was talking about that explosion. So really came into that space to kind of shed a light in it. What
is like the differentiator or the unique offering that Quick Home has comparing to the other players within the market, and how have you seen your strategy evolving over the years?
I would say clear communication and honesty is one of the values we really work towards, and it's been proving well because we put ourselves in the light, which is we're going to put all the information out here, because you know the typical real estate agent in the country relies on secrecy, which is I will only tell you if you pay me, I'll only take you if you pay me, I'll only show you the house, but I'll show you only the gate. You know, because I don't want you to jump in there, snatch my commission and stuff like that. For us, we're actually kind of took like a U-turn on that, which was I will expose everything that this house has. I will talk about its qualities, the good things it has, the bad things it has, and the right buyer, not only in Rwanda, across the world, will actually buy it. That translated into a stat that we're not expecting, which was 70% of our buyers actually come from outside. It's the diaspora, it's non-Rwandans. We were like, you know, we couldn't have figured that niche out if we didn't aim for that strategy. And it's been really, really working out for us.
Tell us about the real estate market in itself. How is it? Now, from seeing you work online, it might seem like it's a booming period. How have you seen it evolving over the years?
I would try to attack that point on 4 points. The industry in itself, it's like demand and supply are playing catch, and you know, supply is really losing badly, because there was a study actually in 2019 which showed that from 2019 to 2032, Rwanda is going to need around 310,000 units. Right now, the city is only producing around 10,000 up to date. You can imagine the backlog that is there. So the supply, you know, is needed, but as well, through that we've been seeing a change. You see, Before that, people used to really flex on, I stay in my own house, my compound is my compound. But we've been seeing trends changing where somebody's like, all right, instead of building a single family house, I will actually build a duplex. I'll build a fourplex. I'll stay in one and rent the other one, and maybe the other one will help me finance the property. That leads me to another point, which is financial products. They've been growing because some banks now offer interest rates up to 11%, 13%. Some request down payments 15%, some request none. So those products were not there back then. It was really, really tough to get access to money. But that's something that has evolved through that demand that is rising. And again, we've been as well seeing a fourth point, which is expansion. That means the city has been speeding up. So most people have been trying to eyeball the secondary cities that are in a closer proximity to the city. And as well, the city and the country has been doing well in terms of expanding the infrastructure so that people really see the interest of expanding living and not only congesting in the city.
Also, when you're looking at the demand might be there, but when you're looking at the pricing, the affordability of these homes, to an extent, they're more not affordable comparing to the larger market needs, even when you're looking at rental units. So what would you say is driving up the costs?
One, it is true what you're saying. The prices these days, really, you see that there is something different. And personally, when I try to analyze what's causing that, of course, there's market forces, which is the cost of land, the cost of construction. It's not easy these days. Most of the things, I would say, on a regular typical house, about 40% is imported materials. That is tiles, that is glass panels, finishes, fixtures. Those things, we don't have them locally. And those contribute to the actual beauty of the house. But we still have 60% of things we can manage here. But the demand side kind of drive the price rise because we have a limited surface and it's too many of us. Plus, there is very good success of Visit Rwanda campaign, meaning so many people see what we have to offer as a country. Safety plays a key role. So it means people from all around the world, they want to come and retire here. They want to come and stay here because we offer peace, which they don't have in most parts of the world, and the limitations to what they can have is not there. We are very welcoming people. So all that, meaning money coming from outside and finding us locals, all of us trying to get a piece of the small limited space, of course, the price has to go high.
Now, when you're looking at even the investments that are going in, the projects that are coming up, we're seeing Chimihurura, or even Nyarutarama, or different places, there's a project that is currently being worked on. Who are the biggest investors into it? Are we seeing more local players? Are we seeing more foreign players? How is the mix?
The mix in Rwanda is kind of segmented because we have a mid-range, which is homes that are not affordable but still affordable. That is in the range maybe of 80 million to, let's say, 180 million. Those are homes being developed by locals. But when you get to the top notch higher, where you get to the high end, there you find a mix. So there is a small percentage of locals, but mainly international investors, because these are investors with the capacity of producing, let's say, a block of 70 unit apartment blocks or villas by the golf course, where, of course, the land is not cheap at all, and the cost of developing there is not cheap. So that kind of brings in an exterior factor where the right people really see the necessity for that type of investment.
Yeah, and now also we have urban planning by whether it's the city of Kigali or even the different districts, they also come into play. To what extent do they influence the kind of projects that are being put in place?
The urban planning actually plays a key role because we used to have this trend. You would find that within every other nice settlement, there is a slum attached to it. So you go to Nyarutarama, you have Banyahi nearby. You go to Kimihurura, there is one. Kibagabaga has one they're trying to kind of renovate right now. That was not a problem before, but with urban planning, it actually kind of tried to classify. If we have a key interesting element, then plan around that element in a sense that it makes sense even to the person living there. Because it kind of, even if you go into property valuation, if you have a property of 500 million and your neighbor has a property of 30 million, it kind of decreases the value of the person with 500 million and increases the value for the person of 30 million. It shouldn't be like that. Urban planning is good because it kind of creates like an equilibrium into the real estate market, where it kind of shapes interests of people depending on the financial capacity they have and distributes all the ecosystem properly.
Very interesting. And now, what trends are you seeing currently in terms of what buyers want? Are people looking for smart homes, green homes? I mean, what do people want?
There is all types of needs, because there are people, since the country is open, there are people who come here and don't find what they're looking for. That means for them, maybe the ideal house is this minimalist project that is eco-friendly, with lake views or the city views, yet there's no developer that is offering that, who is choosing to actually buy strategic land and produce that. But as well, there's a rising demand for affordable house. It's always been there, but there is a rising investors who are trying to figure out a way to attack that angle, where they supply the high margins of Rwandans who need affordable houses, because most of us make the same amount of money. And when that type of projects, let's say, for instance, that one that is being done in Norway, everybody just snatched that product. I believe right now they're sold out on the affordable units. So, and whenever that type of caliber of projects come through, they snatch them. And as well, there is duplexes, where people are trying to offset the trend. It's no longer a trend to build a 10-room house that are 2 living room. No, that's no longer a trend like it used to be. Right now, people are kind of going small, but as well trying to put multiple family together within that single plot, aligning as well with the city of Kigali vision of what they want the city to look like.
When you're looking at real estate, also comparing it to other parts of even the region, for example, when you're looking in Kenya, majority of the people living in Kenya, they see real estate as something to invest in. But for Rwanda, I guess it also goes back into our culture, where you equate success to having a home. But now also we're seeing land prices are increasing. What are the different financing options that Rwandans have? And do you see the cultural part of it also maybe shifting, saying since Kigali is becoming small, let's leave Kigali for investing, and then we also branch out into other parts of the country?
Definitely, starting maybe for the last point, the trend is changing. The trend is changing because, as you say, for some people, really, it does not make sense staying in a house that is worth 200 million. So you find that either when the land prices catches up, some of them are like, maybe I can sell the land and maybe go build and have a farm, because I'm 65 years old and this house is just too big for me. It's 8 rooms. My kids are all grown. They no longer live here. You find trends like, actually, I was surprised to meet this gentleman the other day. He sold his house in Rebero, a big villa, to go stay in Vision City in 1-bedroom apartment. I was like, what's going on? I was like, it's too lonely. That house is too lonely. Some rooms are past a year without going into it. So we're having that type of trend where people are kind of seeing the value of the land they have in the city and choosing to actually either build a unit that is going to be generating income and moving to another place. You find young, savvy people who have traveled the world. For them, they would actually prefer to rent and build a house that they will rent out, so that the house itself finances itself. And that maybe leads me to the option of finances that are available in the country. Not so many, because the interest rates, however much some banks are trying to play with it, they're still very high in comparison to the whole world. And when you compare that, when you put that in contrast to the prices of land, prices of houses, sometimes there's a mismatch. There's a mismatch, but they are working on it in terms of creating financial products where some can actually finance you 100%. I was talking to one of those banks they tell you, like, if it's your first house and you qualify for this house and you find the right house, we'll actually give you all the money. You don't need to give us any down payments. And I think that's very encouraging, because that 20%, sometimes it's very hard to put together. So products are coming through that are really helping the middle class kind of stabilize in terms of buying real estate.
And what are the challenges when you're looking at largely across the sector? What needs to be worked on for us to unlock the full potential?
Definitely, I believe case studies like what the city of Kigali has been trying with this, let's say the village they just created in Mazi in town. It's an experience I would love anyone who can to go visit that place. It's a complete transformation of the area, where people who used to live in the single, in an informal settlements in a slum, the city came through, blessed it with some nice houses, and gave it to the same people without moving them, without changing their lives. So the neighbors are still the neighbors, but now in a nice, posher way. They have roads, they have lights. If we can emulate that system, because as I mentioned starting, our land is not growing. Rwanda is still Rwanda, the same size. We have to live together. We have to live with the high density in mind. So if we can emulate that type of projects, instead of having the ego of saying, I'm going to stay in my own plots alone, and understand that this is actually a patriotic thing. We're trying to save the land for the future because our country is going to be here in 3000. So we just have to understand that and try to figure out a way to implement it, and the guidance coming from the different partners that have interest into urban living, coming together and giving advices to all of us Rwandans to really change the mindset. I think once we achieve that, we're going to have something that works properly.
Interesting. Where do you see the sector in 5-10 years to come?
No, real estate is going to be really good. It's going to be really good because you see new minds coming through. Everybody is opening up to the idea of what actually the sector itself can bring. So definitely it's going to be a more interesting, more stable industry that is not driven by speculation, that is not driven by outside factors, but that is an ecosystem of its own that is functioning properly and profitable across the whole chain.
We're going to dive into your world, get to understand how a Rwandan diaspora decided to come back to Rwanda, invest, and how you found your way into real estate. Let's start with also just your journey into the real estate here in Rwanda.
Yes.
How did you get into it?
It was looking at first coming here and seeing that this is a country that's in general under development and growing, and then specifically seeing big needs around real estate and great opportunities to fill that demand for housing, and do it in a way where we're now trying to integrate a type of architecture that speaks for Rwanda. I see a lot of developments. I feel like it's kind of an inherited design. What if we think differently and try to really incorporate some core values of Rwanda and with a modern touch as we're moving into the future?
Oh, nice. And so when you came into Rwanda and then you're looking around in the real estate, how did you find it comparing to Sweden, where you're from prior?
Yes.
How did you find it? What were your first observations?
So some early observations, borrowing from my experience and seeing how Sweden has developed and is still developing. Here you see a starting point that's different from there. You see a higher need, let's say. And one thing, for example, you see in Sweden, for example, how the city is growing outwardly. So that's why we chose an area like Busanza here to see how we're growing now. The city is growing outwardly. We start in the areas around the city and then build in from the city, going outwards as well, going all the way to Bugesera, which is a big plan. So you see the city growing. And I jokingly sometimes say you don't even have to be brilliant or bright to do things here. You just need to be present and interested and really have a great concept, and things will happen as the city grows.
Yeah, and what's your vision now? Now that you're here, what have you worked on? What are you working on, and where do you see yourself?
So we currently have this project here, Sunny Valley in Busanza. It's the project in a whole is 28 units. So that's something that we're looking to pursue over the coming 2 years, if we have a great pace, continuously great pace moving forward. But then we're also looking around the city, and that's really what pulls me. There's so many areas under development. There's so many opportunities, so much to do. So we're trying to build a solid roadmap with great projects, great deliveries and success throughout, and then grow with the city, basically.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at these opportunities, also on the other side is a demand from the public for what you're offering.
Yes.
How have you seen the demand so far?
There's a huge demand. What I like is we're finding a mix of the local demand, that's primarily what we're building for, but also international interests, where you have people moving here, you have people seeing this as an investment opportunity. Take my partners, for example. They've built real estate in Sweden, they've built in London, they've built in Swiss and around. But then now they're looking at, okay, these markets are good, but which markets are really growing? There you have a country like Rwanda where things are really happening. So it makes a lot of sense from a business perspective, and especially what we're trying to do. We're in our name of the company, we have the word grounded. We're trying to really build something that's grounded in the environment we are in. And these are partners that understand that and really breathe that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about partners who are not necessarily Rwandan or even African, you know, looking at coming from a country like Sweden. And also you're saying buyers are locals, but then you also have diaspora community as well as foreigners. So what is the selling point when someone wants real estate? What do you think is that unique offering that Rwanda has?
So I think people come here, people fall in love with the country, as did I, and it's a lot about the life quality. It's a lot about where, I don't think the microphones are picking it up, but you hear the birds here in the background chirping. You have a beautiful place, a beautiful country, very green, and that's what I love about Busanza now. So I think people come here for peace and a quality of living. And people like me, from the entrepreneurial aspect, I'm very excited to be a part of the growth and the growing country.
Okay, now take us through the process. You said currently this particular project is a 28-unit project. What does that mean in terms of even investments? How much is going into it in terms of even sourcing the needed material? Just take us into the process of it.
Yeah, so we're doing everything hyper local. We are a hybrid company, but everything from furniture to the construction companies we're working with is hyper local. So with that, we have developed a concept. We're now sitting in the first house. The first house has acted sort of like a pilot prototype, trying our thesis, and now we see that, okay, this is scalable. So basically from this concept, we can now scale. 28 units is 7 buildings for us. Each building has 4 units, and we can build. Now we're actually moving on to doing 2 units at a time. And at the same time, we have this place people can visit. You visited, and I'm getting that you had a good impression of the place. So in that way, we can use this unit to show future units and get people invested as early in the process as possible. And we are building a common area here with a pool and a gym and a barbecue and playground. So we're really trying to build a community here. And doing it step by step with a very clear roadmap, getting people involved early to even take shape how we're building it moving forward. So it's a very iterative process. I learned that from my journey building technology companies, being very iterative as you go.
How profitable would you say it's going to be when you're looking at how much is being put in vis-a-vis what will be coming out at the end of it?
Yes, so it's a good margin business. So each unit, so right now we're selling them side by side. So this building has 4 units, but we're selling them 2 and 2. So each side goes at 300 million Rwandan francs. And for us as developers, we have an okay margin. To be honest, the way I'm seeing the market in general and the concept we've developed and comparing it to other areas that are maybe more broadly known, you're getting a discounted price because Busanza is this growing area. But we're okay with that. We have our margin. We want people to move in. We want to build a community. It will be both. We'll both have some units for sales. I think the majority will be for sales. We constantly also iterating on our strategy, and some units will actually keep for renting. So we're doing a mixed strategy there, and yeah, we're seeing good numbers that we're hoping with time as well, because as I said, we're building here over the coming 2 to 3 years. The market will grow with us as well. As Busanza is growing, as Kigali is growing, the market will grow as well.
What are some of the challenges would you say are still present within real estate sector?
I guess it is challenging. Entrepreneurship in large is challenging, and there will be challenges. Some of the challenges we face here is I guess as a developer, you need to be very hands-on, depending on, especially if you're trying to build a concept like this and where you can really take pride in the finish, having, once again, an iterative process. Many times I hear people having issues when they're more hands-off. If you're building, let's say, from abroad and you don't have someone with the same commitment and buy-in into the project, then you might find some finishes are not what you expected, but if you are present, you can solve some of those issues. We're talking about another thing, we've created all the furniture for this place. That's another process where we need to get more and more proficient suppliers. But right now it's very hands-on. You need to go and visit the factory while it's being made to make sure things get made right. But I think with more and more projects happening, more and more concepts like this, experience is being gained. So right now the challenge you'll face is maybe you're really a part of that learning journey. You have to be very pedagogic and invest in educating the suppliers and producers to get the quality and finish.
Okay, and we're now at a time where sustainability is at literally at the top of everyone's agenda, whether it's in architecture, designs, or all 360.
Yes.
So for you and also the projects that you're also doing, how are you integrating innovations? How are you integrating climate-friendly materials as well?
Precisely, that's central in our development, and there's two ways to go about it. One way, is where we start, is a traditional way. Thinking, how did we cool houses, for example, in a more traditional way? Okay, what can we incorporate from that? And then secondary, we look at technology. Okay, now how can we implement great technologies to use different energy resources and measure our energy use in a different way? So it's really a hybrid of traditional and technological. I think most people think about the technological advancements and how that can give us sustainability, and that's good, but there's a lot to be found in the traditional. You see these breeze blocks, for example, naturally cooling the house. We have incorporated a lot of greenery and plants to give us better air here. So it's all of this combined to bring down our footprint.
How do you see the curiosity, if I may say, of young people or even just entrepreneurs here in Rwanda to get into the real estate? Is it something that should encourage also more young people to come into?
Definitely, definitely. And I think the curiosity is there. I think, to your point, there's been a gap between an understanding of what can I do and how could I do it? I see a lot of people are actually approaching me now, a lot of my friends and people, my peers basically. They have a land here and there. So there's been a realization that it's a good thing to get into. Let me buy land, invest in that way. But there's the step from going to owning that piece of land to now developing a concept. There's been a gap there. And with these incoming questions and requests that I've had, I'm wondering how can I maybe support that even more. That's been a part of my journey previously in educational technology. So I would like to help create some form of maybe roadmap or blueprint of how it could be done. Because as I said, I don't see it as competition. We need to all come up with our different concepts, put our minds in it, put our investment in it and build and grow.
You've heard from the players in the industry. The sector is growing and there are also so many opportunities for entrepreneurs to come and join in. You're with me, Naringwa Mothoni. Thank you so much for watching The Business Age.